Don't change the channel. Don't you touch that channel. Don't change the channel. Dr. Maria will be preaching.
Kingdom dynamics, how things move. How things move in the kingdom. It's a particular way. All right? We cannot compare how the world does things and how the kingdom does things. They will never match up. So we're studying kingdom dynamics. We're at the series Kingdom Design, the life and legacy of David. And then today we want to minister from the sermon topic, godly guidance. Godly guidance. What a wonderful topic for a wonderful day. What God does not deliver you from, God will deliver you through. One way or another, you will make it through. One way or another, if you learn from your mistakes and learn with a passion not to repeat those errors, you will exit the test, trial, or tribulation different than how you went in. Church, the key is yielding. Yielding your will to the will of God, yielding your need to control and yielding your need to be right. David, in our text, has been set aside from his youth to be used by God and to become king over God's people. He was set apart, set aside for a specific purpose. Yet, church, this in no way prevents David from the tests and trials of life. Can we put that out there and understand that you can be the best worshiper, the best praiser, the best Christian, the best whatever, and you're still going to come up against tests, trials, and tribulations. So right there, we want to understand that you cannot be, watch this now, you cannot be defined by the test, trials, and tribulations. What you must be is refined. Huh? If I got to go through, refine me. If I got to go through, make me more like you at the end of this. You being anointed does not prevent you from despair and disappointment. Your being anointed will not mean that on your way to the appointment that you will not miss it, mess it up, or make vast numbers of monumental mistakes. The key is that, watch it, God has chosen you. God knows you, and, well, since he knows you, he knows how to get you through. Therefore, while you are being you, be a growing you and a maturing you and a you that understands that your mess-ups are being exposed to the mercies of God. Yeesh, glory. I wake up every morning, brand new mercies I see. That my yesterday does not determine how my today will be. Because brand new mercies. Oh, when we become a people that understand the daily mercies of God, the magnitude of his mercies towards his people, you're a grateful person indeed. The mercies of God. Psalms 40 and 11, it reads, "Withhold not thou thy tender mercies from me, O Lord. Let thy loving kindness and thy truth continually preserve me." Wow. Psalms 51, 1 and 2, it reads, "Have mercy upon me, O God, according to thy loving kindness, according to unto the multitude of thy tender mercies. Blot out my transgressions. Wash me thoroughly from mine iniquity and cleanse me from my sin." Ephesians 2, 4 and 5, it reads, "But God, who is rich in mercy, for his great love wherewith he loved us, even when we were dead in sins, hath quickened us together with Christ. By grace are ye saved." Micah 7 and 18. "Who is a God like unto thee, that pardoneth iniquity, and has passed by the transgression of the remnant of his heritage? He retaineth not his anger forever, because he delighteth in mercy." You can pull apart that right there. He doesn't remain angry because he's too happy. Yee, what a lesson. He ain't a grumpy God. He said, "I don't want grumpy Christians, so let's get through this." Lamentations 3 and 22 and 23, it reads, "It is of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed, because his compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness." With all of this mercy in mind, David is learning more and more that in order to avoid wrong and do right, that he must seek God before he makes his next move. God's mercy has kept him even when he should not have been kept. And today, David will make his next move in the right way. He will seek God's guidance. David knows what it is to go alone and fail. This time, he will go to God and succeed. So let's follow the text today as we deal with the following 3 points. Point number 1, still there. Still there. Point number 2, seek theocracy. Seek theocracy. And then point 3, straight talk. Straight talk. Let's deal with it. Point number 1, still there. Your enemy is still your enemy. Do not get in a tizzy because you have not won your enemy over to your side. The presence of an enemy is not an indication that the enemy will be able to destroy you. 1 Samuel 23 and 1, then they told David, saying, "Behold, the Philistines fight against Keilah, and they rob the threshing floor." Keilah. The troublemakers are now causing trouble in Keilah. See, when somebody's a troublemaker, stop looking at me like that. When somebody's a troublemaker, it's not like they go to another church and they're an angel. They're just who they are, who they do what they do. Saul is still a troublemaker. And now they are causing trouble in Keilah. Keilah means, look what it means, fortress. They're causing trouble in the fortress. This place is enclosed by other lands. And therefore, one could get trapped there. This is where David is. David is safe, but he's surrounded. A fortress can become a place of entrapment and danger. In Keilah, the Philistines are in rare form. They are robbing, Lord have mercy, they are robbing people of their blessings. And where are they doing this? They are doing this at the threshing floor. All right. What is the threshing floor? It is the place of separation for preparation or use. In other words, the threshing floor will yield a usable product. Can I stop right there? Lord. You ever felt like you were on the threshing floor? You ever felt like, my God, I'm in God's house. Why I got to experience not in God's house? Can I tell somebody that if you're on the threshing floor, you ought to thank God, because God is saying, I'm going to do some separation because I want you to be in preparation, because I'm going to make you who I want you to be. When you are on the spiritual threshing floor, it means that God trusts you to go through this moment and become better than you were. So the threshing floor yields a usable product. But what is being produced on the threshing floor? Well, what I liked about it is whatever is being produced on the threshing floor, it's meant to bless everybody. Now, this is cornmeal. That's a good price, too. I usually pay a bit more than this. I'm going to have to check this out. This is cornmeal. Now, I'm going to help you out. Cornmeal on the threshing floor, you see it in its raw state. You see it in its initial state. But can I tell you that some of you have tasted and seen how good my cornmeal muffins are? Yeah, I got a witness, Anybody else want to be a witness? All right, we'll hook you up. Put your hands down. Yeah, I see you. I see it. I got you. I see you. But this is the thing that, church, if you allow yourself, if you allow yourself to be a person going through a process, it's not comfortable. You're going through some separation. Can I tell you that whatever is produced is not just going to bless you, it's going to bless the whole neighborhood, the whole nation. Who you can become will bless more than one. You're not blessed for yourself. You're blessed to be a blessing. Yet, church, I got to tell you that the winds and storms, the adversities of life, if you allow it, they will yield you to be a better person. You can tell somebody what you went through. Lord have mercy. You can encourage a younger person. Oh, no. Hold yourself. Stay put. Stand still. See the salvation of God. You don't understand it now, but hey, give it 2, 3, 4 years and you'll understand it better. We don't like this. We don't like by and by. No, we want to understand it right now. But some things you're going to only understand by and by. Now, just as the Philistines are robbers of the grain, the devil is a robber of your gifts and talents. Whatever it is that God has blessed you to become, the devil will make an attempt to steal it. He's a robber. And sometimes, see, I'm not even sure myself who step behind her. See, and that's the thing about a robber. You don't even have to know who they are. We get caught up in who they are. I'm just telling you what they're about. That they are after darkness. They are dark, and they want your life dark. Now, there's something about this robber that's very, very important. Church, I love this. The text uses the term robber and not thief. Okay? There is a difference. You see, the thief will take from you, and you will not know until you go looking for that something. On the other hand, a robber is close up and personal. You will know that you have been robbed. Yeah, coming straight at you. A thief will avoid contact, while the robber will do whatever he must to take what belongs to you. Just look at that. Put that down. Put that. See the way I took back what the enemy stole? Can I tell you I need a church that knows how to take back what the enemy stole? That when he seeks to get something that doesn't belong to him, that you go and you get it back. Why? Because it's yours in the first place. And God has given you a testimony. He's given you a dance. He's given you a voice. And you got to make sure that the robber doesn't come and take from you. And so there is a difference. And just like just now, I didn't allow anything to steal my joy or my focus. That's the way I want Shekinah Worship Center. That we know who we are, we know what we're about, we know our mission, and therefore we stay focused. Let me tell you, again, the more that you have for the kingdom, the more the enemy spirit's going to come against you. So when the enemy spirit or robber comes against you, you don't get fizzled, you don't get phased, you don't get mesmerized and out of sorts. God's going to sort this out. And so the robber, you're going to know that you've been robbed. The Philistines are robbers. The Philistines, Saul's army, are not trying to do things quietly. They have a plan. to kill David. They're not trying to avoid you, no. They want you to know who it is that is after what you want and what you have. And you've got to learn, I'm going to help somebody right here, to identify your spiritual robbers. Who are those that no matter what, they seem to be pretty happy when I'm not? Who are those that no matter what, seem to just got to say something, look something? Just identify. Don't make a big thing about it. Be careful when thieves become robbers. There's no loyalty among thieves, and there's no dignity among robbers. Now, clearly, the enemies of David are aware that David is being protected in Keilah. The enemies of David know he's safe in that fortress. But this does not stop the enemy from trying to get to you. It doesn't matter how safe you think you're at Shekinah, how holy you think you're at Shekinah, how in tune you think you are at Shekinah. I'm telling you that as long as you have purpose over your life, there's always an enemy spirit that is out to distract you. They will do enough damage to the people that David will have to show up to rescue the people. Get that? What's happening? Saul and his man are messing up the threshing floor. That means the food is going to be limited. That means their families are going to be in trouble. And Saul is having all that to happen because he knows the heart of David is, I want to go in and rescue them. And he wants David to get in Keilah so that he can be trapped there and come in and take him out. Entrapment. Now, an English poet wrote a poem concluding that poem with this line: for fools rush in where angels fear to tread. I ain't going into every enemy's territory and fighting everything. Don't think that every battle is yours. You got to put your mouth on every situation. Oh, I've learned that silence can be quite golden. If you just leave it alone, leave it alone. But sometimes we rush in not knowing it's a trap. It's a trap. My. David would be no fool this time. He had learned from his immediate past errors. And so that takes us to point number 2, robber. You never really see the robber. Well, you actually do see the robber exit. Let me see your hands. Let me make sure. All right, on your way. So I want to take us to now this very important point. Point number 2, seeks theocracy. An online dictionary describes a theocracy as 1, a form of government in which God or a deity is recognized as the supreme civil ruler. The gods or deities' law being interpreted by the ecclesiastical authorities. 2. I'm going right to 2. 2. A system of government by priests claiming a divine commission. And so, church, really, this is as it should be. If you want the nation, I said, if you want the nation safe, then you will seek the will of God to show up in the nation. You will seek the will of God to show up for you in how you must guide the nation. David will not move in fear. He knows that brings about no good. David will seek the face of God before he goes anywhere and does anything. 2-4. Therefore David inquired of the Lord, saying, shall I go and smite these Philistines? And the Lord said unto David, go and smite the Philistines and save Keilah. And David's man said unto him, behold, listen to the man, behold, we're afraid in Judah. You got to understand it. Pause right there. The men are not even in Keilah, and they're afraid. David saying, God, shall we go down and defeat them? Shall we go down and take care of the Philistines? His man are saying, oh no, we don't even feel safe here. That's why you got to have a leader who's not afraid. I expect people to be afraid. I expect people to go, what, semen? That's Bible. They say, behold, like David, hello, we be afraid here in Judah. How much more then if we come to Cftv against the armies of the Philistines? Then David inquired of, see, what's this sense? You already know that your men are afraid. If he went to his man, took a poll, let's take a poll. 600 of you, majority wins. Should I go down? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 499, 600, 587. Said, no, let them. See, you're hearing no. Let me let you know what I'm hearing. Let them die in Cftv. Let the Philistines have their way. And there's a boldness that has to come upon the church today. We are sanctioning people to hell because we're afraid to stand up for what God is saying. Huh? We've got leaders that are no longer speaking about sanctification, speaking about holiness, speaking about those things that God said, without them, you're not going to see him. David, as the leader, knows, I'm not going to take a poll with my whole army. I already know they're afraid. So when you have a people that are afraid, when you have a people, it's in the Bible, people, you'll read it. When they don't know what to do, you know what I have to do? Go to God. I have to go to God and make a decision based on what God says, not on how fearful you are. I don't think it be done, Pastor. No, Pastor. No way. Impossible, Pastor. You lost your mind. That's the things you say. I think some of you say it in the church. Pastor's done lost it. No. Pastor knows who to go to seek the answer. How much more, they say, if we come to Cftv against the armies of the Philistines. Then David inquired of the Lord yet again. And the Lord answered him and said, arise, go down to Cftv, for I will deliver the Philistines into thine hand. How about that? How about a guaranteed victory? How about knowing that God says, as long as you follow him, as long as you obey him, no matter what, you will experience the victory. I believe with all of my heart that once I speak a thing, that it doesn't matter how many people come against it. I said, God, you're not a man, that you should lie. Neither are you the son of man, that you should have to repent. God, you spoke it. You said it shall be. And I live on the it shall be boulevard of heaven. That I don't doubt, I don't sway. I'm confident in this very thing, that he that has begun a good work in me and you, he's going to perform it until the end of it. And you've got to know it for yourself. You've got to know it for your family, that you put it in front of God. You lifted it up to God, and God has said yea and amen. Don't let the surrounding enemy distract you from your God-given victory. Oh yeah. Now, if you're recalling the sermons, you're going to recall that the prophet Gad is with David at this time. And it is believed that David sought his wise counsel in what the will of God was for his people. Note that even though the men with David are fearful, that the leader is not fearful because God said, go. God said, go. Listen carefully to me. The people can doubt. The people can be cautious. The people can have fear. The leader cannot be afraid and cannot move in fear. Leadership is different than fellowship. or who is following the ship. The leader must have an unwavering confidence in God and obey God's voice. So David and his man, they go down and they beat up the Philistines, just like God said it. They beat up the Philistine robbers. God Almighty, can you imagine? A family said, I got my cornmeal back. I got my grain back. Can you imagine that without the cornmeal, they had no vision? Can you imagine that without their grain, they knew that they couldn't make for their child, they couldn't make for their family this or that. But knowing now that God had set things in order, they could now sit down and have a family meal, sit down and enjoy the goodness of the Lord. You got to see it. So David, he's a conqueror here. 7 and 8. Let's listen up. And it was told Saul. It was told Saul that David came to Keilah. And Saul said, listen to Saul. Some people sound deep. Some people sound, they're even saying of God, like God. God. Listen to Saul. Kill a soul. Okay, listen, kill a soul. Murder soul. And it was told Saul that David came to Keilah, and Saul said, God, you answered my prayers. Oh, I could see him. He's skipping. And God had delivered him into mine hand. He ain't thought about the fact that the Philistines just got beat up. All he knows is that David is in a place that's surrounded. God hath delivered him into mine hand, for he is shut in by entering into a town that has gates and bars. This place is on lockdown. And Saul called on the people together to war, to go down to Keilah to besiege David and his man. And he thinks God has answered his prayer. Thinks that God has arranged it so that he can commit murder. God didn't arrange anything for you to do a sin. That's a powerful point. Let's stop trying to attribute to God things that are sinful. Saul has the taste of venom in his mouth and desires to poison the purpose out of David. Saul's hatred for his replacement cannot be contained. Saul lives to kill David and maintain his place on the throne. Saul now feels that he has favor. Saul feels that he's the favor of God. That's why you just can't even, I'm a pastor, read the text. That's why I exegete the text, step by step, so that nobody can say, that ain't in the word. No, right here. Saul sees David surrounded by bars and gates enclosed. Saul does not see David surrounded by the favor of God. He doesn't see David surrounded by the favor of God, which means that the natural gates and bars will not be his demise. See, that's why I stay hooked up to God. Because then anything that man would try to do, anything that mankind would try to do against the will of God, trap me in any way, God's already got me. 9, and David knew that Saul secretly practiced mischief against him, and he said to Abiathar, the priest, bring hither the ephod. Oh, Lord Jesus. In other words, he's going up a notch. He's saying, listen, Gad, thank you, Prophet Gad, but I need the ephod now. I need you, high priest, to come to this matter. How would David know? Well, for one thing, it's the pattern of Saul. You ain't got to be spooky all the time, prophesy. This is what somebody going to do. You got to do that. Oh, I sense the Lord saying. You don't have to do that. All you have to do is watch people's track record. Am I right about it? See, that's where everybody thinks the prophetic. No, you're just studying people. If they've done that before and before and before and before, most likely that's what they're going to do before you again. He knows the pattern of Saul. Saul is always trying to figure out how to get to David to kill him. I need to say this, church. Your purpose, the purpose in your life, is no different than the purpose and the destiny that was in David's life. Meaning this, it's of God, and it's a good thing. And the enemy must step in to destroy everything that God has for you to do. That's his pattern. The thief cometh not but to steal, kill, and destroy. Be thankful. The verse didn't end there. It talks about, but I have come that ye may have life and have it more abundantly. See, I always celebrate that because it didn't just say I'll have life. It said I'll have it more abundantly, which means more than you thought, more than I even imagined that God will do it, because you know what? God is not about me, it's about you. And since your word has been spoken over me, you're going to see me through. So Saul's will not change. And your mortal enemy remains your mortal enemy. You know, don't think because you're saved, sanctified, Holy Ghost filled, that when they see you, they're just going to see like a halo and like a cloud of smoke. And they're going to say, here is God's beloved servant, Deaconess Nancy Talbot Hooks. People ain't going to do that. If they didn't like you yesterday, they probably don't like you today. Get over it. If they weren't high-fiving you and celebrating you yesterday, unless they had an intensified moment with God, like Saul becoming Paul, at the road to Damascus moment, they still don't like you. Now the key is get a mirror, like yourself. You like yourself, you're going to be okay. And so David's got that. Saul is still my enemy. So now David knows, I got to go to God for this. Now, reminding you from last sermon, Abiathar is the son that survived. He is the only son that survived. God will cause one person. All I need, let me tell you, it doesn't matter how much I go through. If I get one person, we're good. It's something about the person who is in tune with God. That having that person who is in tune with God, when everybody else is out of tune concerning you, all you need is the one survivor. Tell your neighbor, all you need is one. All you need is one. The right one. Not any one, the right. I got the right one. Yeah, right one. The son that survived now will be your link of encouragement concerning God's will for your life. Always survives. And he, the priest, has in his possession the ephod. Come on now. Has in his possession the ephod. Now the ephod is important because on the ephod you're going to have the 12 tribes of Israel, and you're going to have two stones on the shoulders with the tribes of Israel written on them. In other words, when the priest comes with the ephod, they come carrying the government on his shoulders. The highest authority in the land is upon the shoulders of God's priests. I'm going to help us right here. If all of God's priests, if all of God's pastors, if all of God's shepherds actually carried the ephod. Oh, we wouldn't be carrying necessarily the tribes of Israel, but here in Bermuda, we'd be carrying, come on up in here, the 9 parishes of Bermuda, that from Somerset to St. George's, every priest, every church leader, every pastor, they will be carrying the ephod, which carries the people. See, let me tell you something. A real pastor, a real true shepherd does not make a decision based on how they feel, but they make a decision based on the fact that they're carrying the weight of God's people on their shoulders. They're shouldering the weight. What move do I make? What direction do I turn in? What do I speak publicly? God, I'm carrying your people, and I got to know that. And at this point of danger, David, mighty warrior David, David, who could handle a sword, says, I can't handle this. I can't handle this weight. I got to go to somebody who has been given the right permission to handle the weight. My hands are not clean enough for this weight. I've killed some people. I've done some wrong. And so I need to go to the one who can carry the weight. Listen, sis. I don't expect everyone to agree with me, you know, because I recognize not everybody carries the weight. You won't have to answer to God like I will. Oh, it would be easy not to carry it, just be nonchalant. But that's not what I'm called to do. There's a standard. Why? Because there are some Philistines. There are some souls out there. And if I want you to be more than a conqueror, I got to go to God on behalf of the people. So the ephod carries the people. So when the priest goes to God, he's carrying the people to God. God, these are your people. This is your royal priesthood. This your nation. You put the onus upon God. What should I do? And so the ephod, priestly garment with prophetic propensity, it will speak. Oh, I think I'm going to park it right there. I'm going to help somebody out right here. If you are a child of God, if you are a leader over the children of God, you must speak. You cannot remain silent, because the ephod in the spiritual sense means you're going to get a message from God, and whatever God tells you, you tell the people. Ain't no secret mission. Go, what you saying, God? All right, just between you and I. No. You go to God on behalf of the people, because the people have to move from where they are. Because if you don't say it, then the people will stay where they are. They'll stay defeated, and they'll experience the Philistines, who are the thieves and robbers. So we got to speak it. So the ephod, it would hold the truth and speak forth the will of God. And so an online site communicates this regarding the ephod. It is an article of sacred clothing worn by the high priest of the Levitical priesthood. The Lord directed that they were not to wear ordinary clothing. Can I park it there just for a moment? This is in the Old Testament, where it's just one priest, the high priest, right? His helpers, his workers, priests. One high priest. In the New Testament, you are the royal priesthood. So don't tell me it doesn't matter what you wear. You could just come in any old way, show any old thing. Not if you're a part of the royal priesthood. I'm on my tippy toes for that. If it mattered in the Old Testament, how much more in the New Testament, huh? So they were not to, you can't wear ordinary clothing when you're doing an extraordinary work. They could not wear ordinary clothing during their service, but they were to have holy garments, see that? Made by those whom the Lord had filled with the spirit of wisdom. You got to be wise what you wear. You know, I'm not the most trimmest pastor, so I got to be careful what I wear. Shouldn't see all my wrinkles and dimples everywhere. Come on now. My mama said, amen. It's wisdom. I shouldn't come here in low cut, distracting all the males from. It's wisdom. You know, why does it matter what you wear? Because I shouldn't go to Queen Elizabeth talking about I'm wearing this tight leotard type of thing. Well, it fits. Yeah, they make clothes to fit everybody. An ant and a horse, they make clothes to fit everybody. Just trying to say. You said it right, she wouldn't receive you. You wouldn't make it past the gates of Buckingham Palace. You wouldn't. They see you start laughing, go, yeah, just walk down the street, the other street. How much more? Because I'm saying that we have been set apart, the church. And so we've got to watch how we carry ourselves. Somebody's watching. Now, these sacred garments were to be passed, watch it, from father to son, along with the high priestly office itself. See, if we lined up with God's word, we'll have fathers and sons passing down the legacy. This is why God made sure a son survived. God was not, listen, oh, thank you, Holy Ghost. Just heard this. God had to make sure a son survived. Because the son had to survive, because until Jesus showed up, the Levitical priesthood had to continue. And when Jesus showed up, they could all die, because he ever liveth, our high priest, to make intercession for you and for me. But until then, while you're stuck in the old covenant, while you're stuck in the Old Testament, you need a male, you need a high priest to survive. But when Jesus came, he was the ultimate sacrificial lamb. He is the ultimate intercessor. And he's sitting at the right hand of the Father right now as intercessor. Listen. I don't know what you need, but I just felt in my spirit. This is a moment. Take 20 seconds right now. Intercede for what you need from God. Oh, God, I thank you. Jesus, I thank you. I thank you that you are the great high priest. I thank you that you have an unfailing lineage and that you ever live. And God, I thank you that everything I stand in need of, you already know, and you're making a way out of no way. God, you're meeting the needs of your people. And now, God, as I stand as their pastor, God, I thank you because, God, you're making a way for them, God. You're going to show yourself strong. God, you're going to come through. Hallelujah. And so we've got to understand, church, that God had this priest to survive because they needed a way to communicate with him. And that was the way they communicated. And so with the ephod, it was fastened to the ephod was the breastplate, into which the Urim and Thummim were tucked like pockets. So where they had the 12 stones, it was a little pocket in there for these two stones, the Urim and Thummim, right? Now, the ephod would hold the Urim and Thummim, which would determine the stop or go, the yes or no, the blessings or the cursing that God will release. See why you couldn't have a whole pile of high priests? Can you imagine if one high priest was out of order, if two high priests were out of order? You wouldn't know what message God was saying because they'd be responding according to their own flesh. But that's why God sanctified a high priest. And by the way, remember now, if that high priest went in through beyond into the holy place, and if he was messed up, guess what? We're pulling him out. God desires truth on the inward parts. God knows what his standard is, and he expects it of his people. Whenever the people were caught between a rock and a hard place, caught between evil and the deep blue sea, they sought God via the sacred clothing. Takes me to point number 3, straight talk. Straight talk. 10 through 12. Then said David, O Lord God of Israel, thy servant has certainly heard that Saul seeketh to come to Keilah to destroy the city for my sake. He's saying, Saul willing to kill everybody to get to one person. Yet it's back there in a few verses ago talking about God, you answer my prayer. 11, David is asking, will the man of Keilah deliver me up into his hand? Will Saul come down as thy servant hath heard? O Lord God of Israel, I beseech thee, tell thy servant. And the Lord said, he will come down. Then said David, will the men of Keilah deliver me and my man into the hand of Saul? And the Lord said, they will deliver thee up. Oh yeah. Every battle's not your battle. Every fight's not your fight. Sometimes God will say, make your way of escape. You go down, they're going to beat you up. They're going to steal your joy. You're going to wonder if you're saved. You're going to, I know if God's real. He was real 2 years ago, but I know it was real today. Stop messing with the enemy. Anytime a child of God doubts, who put that doubt on you? God hasn't changed. What have you experienced? Who have you been mixing with? Who have you been listening to that has put doubt in your heart against God? Straight talk, straight talk. The way to go is the way God says to go. That's it. You know, anybody would think, well, God's like omnipotent. If I go down, because he loves me, I go down, he's going to beat them up for me. No, he ain't. Because you were disobedient. You can defeat your enemy any day of the week if you're obedient. But if God tells you get out of there and you go in and say, no, God's got me, he loves me, you go watch what you experience. If this is not dissimilar, remember when Jesus Christ was on the cross and one of the thieves said, call down the angels, they can deliver you. Yeah, but that's not what it's about. It's not what you can do. It's what God wants you to do in the situation. And so, church, at this time, David is blind to his own way. He's blind to his own way. And this is a good thing. Because when you're blind to your own way, now you all don't want me even trying to get good on. You be like, careful, pastor, you be having conniptions. When you're blind to your own way, you will not be swayed based on how you feel about a thing. When you're blind, first of all, the reason he's going to be blind to his own way is because he already sees the mistakes he's made in the past. And that it's best to operate according to the vision of God and not his own sight. I was thinking about something. I said, we got young people, young adults. They really have to learn to operate blindly. I'll help you out. Because you got young women, you get in the 20s, early 20s, mid-20s, they're looking for a man. I understand that. I got that. But you have to look for your vision and your purpose down the road. Because not any man, and for a young man, not any woman, they may be fine now. Let me say it this way. They may be fine as wine right now, but you're going to be drunk down the road. Choose wisely. Don't choose according to your own way, not your own feelings. No, David's learned that. David's now gotten it. That if he sees according to his own mind, he will no doubt miss the will of God. David must become blind to his own thoughts. Isaiah 55:8, it says, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. Stop trying to be a little God. Go to God. Don't be a little God. This is so, so true. And so you must get rid of you in order to get God's view of the situation. You see, God knows the beginning from the end. All we know is what? is at hand. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is no time to play or plot in hopes of making the right move. No, Saul is mad and will no doubt destroy an entire city in order to get one man named David. My goodness. David is demonstrating his total dependence on God. David follows the New Testament plan of, look, ask, seek, and knock. Yeah. Ask, seek, and knock. Matthew 7:7. Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh, receiveth, and he that seeketh, findeth, and to him that knocketh, it shall be opened. When you don't know what to do, go to God in prayer. Amen. I mean, that's become an outdated thing, isn't it? Pray. Oh, yeah. Go to God in prayer. He'll settle it. He'll give you your own personal Urim and Thummim experience. You come out knowing what to do. You'll see the light. That's another thing. They would shine forth. The stones would emanate forth light. Jesus. One study said, I'm not 100% sure, I want to cross-study it a bit, but says the 12 tribes of Israel, right, had every letter of the alphabet except 4. So when somebody, for example, what's the guy, Achan, when they kept on asking the priest questions, eventually it said, it spout out the tribe. Boop, 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 boop. Then it spout out the family. Boop, 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 boop. And then it spelled out Achan. Boop, 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 boop. That's why he couldn't say, no, it ain't me. Because God, you hear me? God revealed who it was. When God's truth reveals, you can't call God a liar. And this is how the priest now communicates to David. This is what God is saying. When you don't know what to do, you pray about it. 13. Then David and his men, which were about 600, arose and departed out of Keilah and went whithersoever they could go. And it was told Saul that David was escaped from Keilah, and he forbore to go. You know how vexed that was? Set up the plan to, come on, I want to help somebody right here. Set up a plan to destroy you. Set up a plan to take you out. Even went to God and thought God was telling them what to do. And yet, because David saw it, he saw truth. That's what I kept reading as I was studying the Urim and Thummim. It was about truth, lights, truth, and revelation from God. As long as you seek God and seek truth, he will show you truth, and that truth will save you from the traps of your enemy. David escaped, Saul vexed. The response of God rendered Saul motionless. I like that. You can't move anywhere. Where you going now? Where you going now? What you going to do? What you going to do? Forbear comes from the word kadal, means to stop, cease, desist, forbear, cease to be, leave undone. That's right. Everything the enemy tried has now been left undone. Everything the enemy wanted to do with you is now undone. See, that's what happens when you still have your joy, when you still have your peace. That's why I told one person over the last week, I said, listen, get up and move in the joy of the Lord. Stop letting other people dictate to you how your next morning is going to be. They would, but they wouldn't. Get up and be happy, happy, happy. Yeah, walk in your joy. Don't let other people, listen, I was away, I received this email or that email. I said, don't people know I'm on email? Notice I'm saying email. I said, don't people know I'm tired? I'm over for a rest, and they're going to communicate to me bad news and sad news. I was like, Jesus. But I tell you what, I shook that off, got back on my iPad, read another chapter. In other words, I said, I know the plans that God has for me up here, and I will not be deterred. I will not be distracted. I will continue to do what God has called me to do, because your enemy always, if I told my mama, I told my daddy, I told my sister, I told my child, I need to get away for a few days and finish some chapters. I had done chapters in August, lost them all, and I could not get back in the Bible. My one sole purpose was to get out of Bermuda and work on books. This book. That's all I needed to do. And so I already knew that means somebody's going to communicate something that's going to hurt my feelings. Somebody's going to communicate something that's going to make me go, really? All of that. But when your mind is made up, you understand that every trap of the enemy, everything that he plans will not have its way. It will not be effective. I will get done what God has called me to do. And I was the happiest camper that by time Thursday rolled around, I had finished 7 things. I said, that's a good number to stop right there. Introduction, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5, chapter 6. I sent them to my editor. I said, save them twice. I ain't lose them this time. In other words, I was focused on my objective. I wasn't letting a Philistine come in. I wasn't letting a soul come in. Nobody was going to deter me or distract me. I knew what mission God had sent me to complete. Oh, yeah. And I was walking out, right? Walking out about 3:30. Met a nice taxi driver. Hey, I'm Berta, in case you listen. And I was walking out 3:30 in the morning. I got to share this food. Walked out, got all my stuff downstairs, and I saw 2 guys walking. One guy had pants all the way up to her and had 2 hearts, a hard here and a hard there. You know, I've been up in my room writing about the male womb. I just looked at him, said in my mind, oh, the blood of Jesus. I said it. But let me tell you something, sis. I turned around, and there was at the desk, the guy, I'd never seen him since I've been there, working that shift. Of course, I've been up, and it was a young black male. Well, I felt the Holy Ghost, because he looked at me, and I looked at him, and I went up to him. I said, you know what? I've been writing upstairs, and I want to encourage you that God has made you a man, that you carry generations within you, young man. I never asked his name because it wasn't about that. I said, I may never see you again, but I want you to know that God's hand is upon you, and that you have generations within you, and you are so powerful that you can determine whether it's a boy, and you can determine whether it's a girl. Don't do that stuff, because that stuff kills. That stuff stops you from generations. And he said, I'm not going to forget it. And I said, listen, let me tell you something. And also, you're a strong young black man. You're strong. Make sure that you get a woman that understands your strength. Oh, I just did a little sermonette on my way out of the hotel, 3:30 in the morning. I said, God, I got to leave your blessing with someone. And if you showed me the curse, then you're going to show me who to bless. And since he showed me the person that was cursed, I said, I need somebody to bless. And so I blessed that young man, and I spoke life over him. And church, that's what we've got to do. In the house of God, out of the house of God. God, what is it that is on my threshing floor? God, what is it that you've caused that can be separated? Now, God, I want to bless somebody. I want to bless somebody. And when we operate that way, we're not operating according to our own will, but the will of God. But the will of God. I don't want to drop this moment. I don't want to miss this moment. Saul is stopped. Every soul, spirit will be stopped in their tracks. Now, church, because David sought God, God delivered him out of the hand of his mortal enemy once again. Seeking God's advice is not simply good, it is wise and best. Let me tell you, sometimes it's not going to even be comfortable. You'll feel comfortable later on down the road.
For a copy of this sermon in its entirety, please check out our bookstore at our website www.swim-international.com.